My reactions to week 14 of the 2024-25 NFL season. Uh, Starting with Thursday Night Football, Packers out Lions. Lions held like a 14-point lead after the first half. Then the Packers made a comeback like the Bears did the previous week against the Lions. My biggest concern with the Lions is their defense. They're banged up like heck. Signed a few players off the streets like Jamal Adams and Al-Qaeda Muhammad, along with a few other players. But if they can get healthy, they'll be a hell of a team, man. But I got to give credit to the Packers. They battled them till the end. The Lions ultimately pulled it out in the end, though. They got the ball back. They got the ball last. And Dan Campbell has big balls. It feels weird saying that about a man, but, he's got balls of steel because he could have taken the field goal. The game was tied. They were in the 30-yard line, inside the 30-yard line. But not Dan Campbell, man. He went for it. It almost didn't pay off, but it paid off. And they got the first down on offense, and were able to run the clock down and kick the game-winning field goal with as time expired. But a gutsy win for the Lions. But they just need to get healthy on defense, man. If they're able to stay healthy on offense and get healthy on defense, like I said, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But they ended up beating the they ended up beating the Packers 34-31. Browns at Steelers, Sunday morning football. Browns at Steelers. Jameis Winston had a few mistakes again. Not as bad as it was last week, but still. Steelers defense were able to force a few turnovers. It was an insane interception from Keanu Benton, their defensive tackle, I think, from the Steelers. And Russ continues to cook. Ever since he got to the Steelers, he's been cooking. And Steelers look like a legitimate contender, man. Like, they really do. They play the Eagles next week, so it should be a tough game, a really tough game. But they can definitely win that game. Especially with the way the defense is playing. But yeah, they ended up destroying the Cleveland Browns in a bit of a revenge game, 27-14. I think that touchdown, one of the touchdowns that the Cleveland Browns scored, ended up being in garbage time, so that's why it was 27-14, the final score. But great win for the Steelers. The Jaguars at Titans. This was an absolute shit show. Really a full-on tank bowl, honestly. Both teams are poverty. The Jaguars, without Trevor Lawrence, couldn't really do much offensively. They did get a touchdown pretty much to seal the game from Tank Bigsby, who's having a pretty good season. And the Titans, I don't know what the heck's going on with them. They just have a lot of problems. Both teams do, but the Titans were at home, so it just, I don't know. The Titans should have won this game, but they didn't. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that game. Is it was an absolute shit show. Raiders at Buccaneers. Buccaneers, but the Jaguars ended up beating the Titans 10-6. But Raiders Buccaneers. Buccaneers pretty much beat up on the Raiders, although the Raiders tried to keep the game close, and were able or managed to do so. Considering the fact that Baker Mayfield threw like 2 interceptions, that's a bit of a concern for the Buccaneers. But the Raiders lose another quarterback. Gardner Minshew is out for the year. I think Aiden O'Connell can be added to that list also for the Raiders, as they will now be without those 2 guys and will be with Desmond Desmond Ritter for the rest of the year. As the Buccaneers ended up beating the Falcons, or not the Falcons, what the fuck am I talking about? They ended up beating the Raiders 28-13. As they are now in first place in the NFC South, considering that the Falcons are collapsing like they usually do. It's pretty much been that way since even before they blew that 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. Falcons at Vikings. The Vikings, it seems for the Falcons, it seems like I don't know what the hell happened to them. They're collapsing at the seams. Early on up until like the middle of the season, Kirk Cousins looked pretty good, but then it seems like he's possessed by the ghost of or by the spirit of Nathan Peterman, because the last 4 games he has 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Not good at all. And for the Vikings, as much as I hate to admit this, they looked very good, because I'm a Lions fan, so they're a rival, but they've looked really good. The Vikings have Sam Darnold's having a resurgent year, and they just look really good. So it was a really good game, but they ended up destroying the Falcons, and Sam Darnold had 5 touchdowns and made mincemeat of the Falcons defense, but great win for the Vikings, and and not a very good game back, not a very good welcome back for Kirk Cousins, as again he had 0 touchdowns, and again he had 2 interceptions, not good at all. But next game, Panthers at Eagles. Panthers have been playing really well recently. They haven't been winning, granted, but they've kept it close against even some of the top teams in the league. And that was no different this week against the Eagles. Almost beat them if Xavier Legette didn't drop the football. They got the ball. Bryce Young threw a nice potential touchdown to Xavier Legette, but like I said, he dropped the football, and that was that. Then I think after that he proceeded to throw an interception, but I don't know. The Eagles were able to escape with the win, but some people are panicking for the Eagles, like they might go into another slump. I wouldn't go that far, but at the same time, it also depends on the next 2 games. If they lose the next 2 games, which is very possible, because they play the Steelers next, albeit in Philadelphia, and then they play the Commanders in Washington. If they lose those 2 games, then there might be time to panic for the Eagles. But until then, I just got to give credit to the Panthers, man. They were able to keep it close against another one of the best teams in the NFL. And Bryce Young's been looking much better than he had earlier in the year, as the Eagles beat the Panthers 22-16. But next game, Saints at Giants. Another shit show type of game. The Saints beat the Giants 14-11. I believe for the Giants, Drew Lock started the game off 0 for 8, which is fucking atrocious. But it happens, I guess. At least for the Giants, it does. They need a quarterback, honestly. They need to draft a quarter. They got some pretty good talent, offensively and defensively. They just need a quarterback, and they might need to fire their coach. But as far as the Saints goes, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. Two of their top receivers are out for the year, and Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Offensive line is kind of banged up, and add to the list Derek Carr, who I think is out for the year now. The Saints have just been dealing with a lot of injuries. I mean, they looked really good the first 2 weeks of the season, but they just been dealing with a lot of injuries since then. And like I said, you can add Derek Carr to the list. Sunday afternoon football, Bills at Rams. This was one of the games of the year. Rams beat the Bills 44-42. Despite the 42 points coming from Josh Allen, he had 6 touchdowns in the game, 3 passing, 3 rushing. So he was a freaking alien, out of this world, like he has been at times. This year he's been balling out. He's definitely in the running for. In my opinion, he's I'd say he's like second right now, next to Saquon Barkley, but he's definitely up there in terms of MVP candidates this year. But the Rams were able to outscore the Bills, and the Rams were up 14 zip pretty much to start the game. One of those touchdowns, I think, came from a blocked punt, returned for a touchdown. And yeah, it's just hard in general trying to come back, especially on the road. But the Bills dang near pulled it off. But Sean McDermott called a dumbass quarterback sneak with under a minute, which didn't convert, and so he had to use one of the last 3 timeouts, which really changed the game, and ultimately cost them the win. But yeah, I just gotta give credit to the Rams. They played their best game of the season, in my opinion. And the Bills, man, they look like one of the teams to beat right now. Definitely. I'm a little nervous next week because my Lions play them next week, and we're not at full strength. But hopefully the Lions are able to pull off the W in Detroit. But we'll see. But great win for the Rams. Bears at 49ers. Bears continue their losing streak since the bye week. Ever since they lost to the Commanders on a last-second Hail Mary, they've fallen apart and fallen off the face of the earth completely. Losing like 6 straight, I think. They started the season off like 4-2. They're like 4-8 now, 4-9. Yeah, it's just falling apart for the Bears. But for the Niners, nice bounce back win for the Niners. Brock Purdy had like 3 touchdowns. I still don't know if I trust the Niners because they're still banged up. Christian McCaffrey's out for the year, but great bounce back win for them as they got destroyed by the last 2 teams they played. But again, nice bounce back from the Niners and the Bears. Yeah, they they've collapsed. Basically, is the word that I'm gonna use. Is the word that is the most obvious word to use for the Chicago Bears season this year. Seahawks at Cardinals. Seahawks beat the Cardinals 30-18. The defense for the Seahawks forced Kyler Murray again into another one or two turnovers. And the Seahawks have now won 4 straight, which I felt like they were going to do as long as DK Metcalf's in the lineup. That's the one thing I've noticed from the Seahawks is even if DK Metcalf's not playing at his best, as long as he's in the lineup, they always got a chance to win. And it would not shock me if they ended up giving the Packers back-to-back losses in Seattle, but we'll see. But it was a great win for the Seahawks and for the Cardinals. Not a good way to come back after the bye. As they look pretty good in the middle of the season, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think about the Cardinals anymore. Sunday Night Football, Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Chargers 19-17 on a last-second field goal, which hit the which doinked off the upright and in. But for the Chargers, they were up they were down by like 14 points. Defense played their butts off, but they played their asses off. But Justin Herbert just doesn't have any weapons, man. Ladd McConkey was out for the game due to an injury. He tried to play in the game, but or he tried to be ready for the game, but he wasn't able to get ready in time, and as a result, he didn't play in the game. Like I said, he was injured, so he missed the game, and you can really tell that early on their offense was struggling. They couldn't really get anything going. They need more weapons alongside Ladd McConkey if they really want to compete for a Super Bowl in the near future. Add a number one receiver, somebody like a T. Higgins, but in the offseason. But the defense was able to keep them in the game. But ultimately, they gave the ball back to the Chiefs. The offense did. After roaring back, scored 14 unanswered points after being down 0-13. And the Chiefs' offense then scored another touchdown, and I think they scored a field goal. Then the Chargers' offense scored a field goal and then gave the ball back to the Chiefs' offense, and they were able to march down the field and inevitably win the game on the last play of the game, basically, like they have been all season. I don't know what kind of dark magic voodoo type shit they've been pulling off, but they somehow pull off another W, which they've been the kings of this year. I don't know if they've had a blowout win yet, but most of their games, if not all their games, have come down to the wire, and they've just been battle tested, basically, is one thing that I will say about them. And yeah, for the Chargers, again, defense stepped up, but I still feel like the offense needs some more weapons. Definitely needs a number one receiver for Justin Herbert to go along with Ladd McConkey, but another win for the Chiefs and for the Chargers. Tough loss. And finally, for the final game of the week, Monday Night Football, Bengals at Cowboys. Bengals beat the Cowboys 27-20. It was a close game. Cooper Rush had 2 touchdowns, one to CeeDee Lamb, another one to Brandon Cooks. Joe Burrow didn't necessarily play his best game of the season, but Jamar Chase balled out. He had like 2 touchdowns, dang near 200 receiving yards. Dude was just a demon in this game. He was on demon time in this game, and he got a game-winning touchdown with about a minute left. So on that drive, the Bengals were about to punt away the football, but the Cowboys blocked it. But a real mental error from the Cowboys special teams as Amani Oruwariye touched the ball, and when you touch the ball first, I think the other team gets it, so the Bengals were able to keep possession and marched down the field and scored a touchdown with a minute left. And after that, Cooper Rush wasn't able to do anything. And that was that. It was offense and defense played well enough for the Cowboys to win this game, but just a costly mistake on the special teams unit, which again cost them the game. And they also showed the game on it was like a Simpsons broadcast on ESPN Plus. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the game version, the full game broadcast. But it was interesting. It was definitely something, Crazy enough, the whole game kind of took place in one of Homer's dreams. He and his son made a bet. Homer Simpson bet that if he won, his son, Bart Simpson, as we all know the Simpsons, would have to work, would have to do his job. And if Bart Simpson won, he would have to give up dessert and treats or sweets for a whole month, and pretty much give them to Bart Simpson. And as Lisa was pretty much the MVP of the game, and I know it sounds like I'm on drugs right now, but I promise you, if you just look it up on YouTube, you will understand what I'm saying. But it was interesting, it was another interesting week of football, and curious to see what happens the rest of the way, week 15 and forward. But so far so great,